Yo, what's good? It's your boy. We back at it with another video. You know what I mean? We here to follow through on the series with your Mars sign coming through Virgo, right? So hopefully this video will be, enlightening for you guys basically. But we got the glyph of Mars right here, right? And it's coming into the sign of Virgo right here. Now Mars, of course, we know, as I've stated in Roman mythology, is known as the god of war basically, right? In your chart though, Mars can show us numerous amount of things, right? It can show us basically how you act, right? And inside of a birth chart, you always want to compare multiple areas because we're more than just one sign or one planet coming through a sign or in a house. So you need to compare to find out how you act. You want to compare this with your ascendant sign. The reason being is because the ascendant corresponds with the first house, or it is the first house basically. And the first house is kind of like an Aries type of, it would kind of correspond with the sign of Aries, also the planet Mars basically. So that's kind of like our actions, how we act. They say that the ascendant is basically the mask, right? So when you wear a mask, it's basically you're acting, right? So in terms of how you act, your actions, compare your Mars in terms of it being in Virgo with whatever is the sign that's on the ascendant, and also any planets there in that first house that would flavor basically how you act as well, to give it more or a different type of energy as well. You got to compare and contrast these different areas, right? Now Mars also shows us our desires as well, and where in terms of the house, and also kind of like how you direct your energy. Now another thing that it shows, it's going to show how you deal with anger, aggression, and kind of like your fighting style to a certain degree. Mars is the planet of sexuality, so it can show for how you are in terms of your sexual expression. And also, you want to compare your Mars sign with what's going on in your 8th house, basically. Because that's also going to tell us about sexuality, intimacy, your 8th house in terms of planets in that house, and also the sign that's on the cusp. You compare these different areas to see, because we're more than one way, you know what I mean, these different areas, like I stated. Mars in a woman's chart will basically show us the ideal boyfriend archetype, right? And since Mars is the god of war, the last thing it can show is where you have conflict by sign and by house, basically, right? So we're gonna basically start, right? I'm gonna talk about how you act, right? Whenever the sign of Mars comes into the constellation or the sign, basically, of Virgo, you guys are acting like a Virgo. Now, how does a Virgo act, right? Virgos, this is gonna make you very much about self-improvement, right? Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so you guys can be critical. Basically, you can be critical, and it's a sign that wants to be very organized, basically. So you want things set in a certain routine. You like a systematic approach to how you direct your energy, as Virgo is the sign of work, basically, right? You could be at the same time too, you could be very useful. You like to be of service, dutiful. The more negative side, basically, depending on how you're vibrating, this is a sign that can be very analytical, nitpicky, scrutinizing as well too. So that's just something to be mindful of, right? Positive side is humble, humility. Now, in terms of your desires and where you direct your energy, right? Desires, again, I just told you, it was about self-improvement. You could direct your energy towards work, basically. Towards work. Virgo is also the sign of health, so some people may actually direct their energy in this area, whether that be like doctors, nurses, being just in any type of service industry, basically. Virgo is a sign of perfection, so you want things to be again systematic and just routine, basically. Anger and aggression, right? Now, what I like to say for anger and aggression is you guys basically are the type that anger, aggression, and fighting style, you guys can be kind of like it's ruled by Mercury, basically, right? So on one end, you can use your intellect, because Virgo is an intellectual sign. You can use your intellect and the facts basically to rebuttal, or if you have to defend a certain point, if you gotta fight, basically. And you guys also could kind of react, or when it comes to anger and aggression, you could be kind of, again, scrutinizing, or just very picky, basically. You might know how to pick at different people in different areas as you guys pay attention to the details, basically, right? that could be a way, or just, you know, when it comes to this energy. Sexual expression, Virgo is a sign of service, which I've stated. So, and it's also a perfectionistic type of sign. So you guys are the type to want to learn your partner basically, and you know, pay attention to the details, as it's a mutable sign. So this could be adapting to your partner to learn and to provide that service, basically to please your partner. You know what I mean? Virgo, I told you guys, is the sign of health. So you also want a type of partner who's very cleanly. That's, if I'm saying it correctly. Cleanliness can be important to you. You know, hygiene basically. That would be very important for you with those that you're intimate with on that level as well too. Let's see. For a woman, in a woman's chart, ideal boyfriend archetype, right? Now, what I would say is that you need someone who's intelligent, of course. Someone same kind of energy, basically, to match kind of how you are. Intelligent, someone who can be a bit reserved, practical, systematic as well too. Now, for instance, and I'm gonna relate this back to you real quick. If you had a lot of mutable placements, then you may not be as organized. You know what I mean? Even though Virgo is mutable, because mutable energy is adaptable, changeable. You know what I mean? So that's just something I'm throwing in there. But back to your ideal boyfriend archetype. Someone who's very same thing, very much about service, improving their life, being organized. It could be someone who's in the health industry as well too, since Virgo deals with that, right? Someone you could learn from, since it's ruled by Mercury. When it comes to you having conflict, right? Virgo kind of corresponds with that 6th house energy, right? And with Mars coming through Virgo, this can show you may have conflict with people if they're not being as organized or following through at work or being systematic, basically. You know, that could lead back to that anger, aggression as well. And also, Virgo could deal with like work, so you can have issues in your work environment or just with coworkers, basically, as well. One other way it may play out is like dealing with health as well too, since Virgo is a sign of health, right? But you gotta look at a numerous amount of things basically within the chart. But that's just some game or basically information on Mars sign coming through Virgo. I hope it was enlightening. Oh, one more thing, excuse me. I meant to say, in all my videos, I'm telling people, and I'm going to leave a link above in this corner. I think this is where it's at. It might be this corner, one of them. But I'm going to leave a video, basically, for the women, for ideal boyfriend archetypes. And I'll leave it in the description as well, too. Now, whatever house Mars is in, right? This is going to tell you where you're also directing your energy. But it's going to tell you about your ideal boyfriend archetype, right? So, what I want you guys to do is look at the house that it's in, and that house that it's in is going to correspond with a certain zodiac sign. Now, what you're going to do is to find out energies of your boyfriend. What I do when I'm reading a chart is I basically use the sign of Virgo and I use the house. So for instance, if it's in the 1st house, this corresponds with Aries. So it would be ideal boyfriend archetype for you. The energies you need is someone who's has Virgo energy and Aries. If it's in the 2nd house, this is Virgo, and then Taurus, because Taurus is the 2nd house. 3rd house would be Gemini. 4th is Cancer. 5th is Leo. 6 would basically be doubled down on that Virgo energy. 7th would be Libra. 8th would be Scorpio. 9th would be Sag. 10th is Capricorn. 11th is Aquarius, and 12th is Pisces. So look at that video for keywords to understand the energies of your ideal boyfriend archetype for the women, right? That's just something, extra information, basically. You know what I mean? Just to kind of learn more too. If you want to, besides the sign that Mars is coming through, which is Virgo, look in that same house to show where you have conflict, quarrels, because you're going to move more independently normally in that area of life. You know what I mean? And just Google to see what that house is about. All right, y'all. Peace.